Today is Friday, January 14th. We'll explain the Supreme Court's decisions about COVID-19 vaccine mandates, who will have to get their shots for work, and who is now off the hook. Also, the most serious case yet to come out of the Capitol riot investigation, and why presidential debates may never look the same again. Plus, a big winter storm moving through dozens of states this weekend, how tens of thousands of Americans are getting their debt erased, and talk about team spirit. An American athlete gave up her spot in an Olympic event so her teammate would get the chance to compete. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. The COVID-19 vaccine mandate that was supposed to apply to big businesses will not be enforced after all. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled against it this week. This is the rule we've been telling you about that said companies with 100 or more workers need to make sure their employees are either vaccinated or tested for COVID-19 weekly. But the High Court decided the White House does not have the power to impose those rules. The justices voted 6-3. And with that, both President Biden and the American Medical Association say they're disappointed. Biden is now calling on big businesses to enforce their own vaccine requirements, and he mentioned that a third of Fortune 100 companies have already done so. On the flip side, America's largest retail trade group called the Supreme Court's decision a significant victory for employers. Industry groups have been saying the mandate could make the worker shortage and supply chain problems worse. By the way, the Supreme Court did say another one of President Biden's mandates is okay. That's the one that applies only to healthcare workers. It's the one that says any facility taking money from the federal government must make sure all their employees are vaccinated, or else they won't get more federal dollars. So now the vast majority of healthcare workers in the U.S. will have to get their shots or apply for a medical or religious exemption. That Supreme Court vote came down 5-4. The White House has stepped up its plans to fight this latest wave of COVID-19 by offering Americans more free supplies, like at-home testing kits. The Biden administration will buy another 500 million of them, bringing the total to 1 billion. It's not clear when they'll be ready, though, since the Biden administration still needs to set up the website for people to order their free tests. The president says that site is on track to roll out next week. And that's not all Americans are getting for free. President Biden promised to announce plans next week to give Americans free, high-quality masks like N95s. He also said he's sending more military medical personnel to 6 states where hospitals are overwhelmed. More than 15,000 National Guard members have already been deployed for COVID-19 missions. This could be the end of presidential debates as we know them. The Republican National Committee says it plans on keeping GOP nominees from debating ahead of the general election. The RNC has some issues with the nonpartisan organization that has hosted presidential debates for more than 3 decades. For example, it's been pushing to have an RNC representative at the organization's board meetings, and it wants to have more influence on picking moderators. But as the debate commission's chairman told the Washington Post, the RNC, quote, wanted to control things we aren't prepared to let them control. The RNC's chairman says she and her colleagues are now looking for alternatives to the traditional debates so Republican candidates can still have a voice. The RNC will officially vote on new rules during its winter meeting next month. A member of the British royal family is losing his standing with the monarchy. Queen Elizabeth decided to take away Prince Andrew's military titles and royal charities. He will no longer be known as His Royal Highness and will stay away from any public duties. The decision came just one day after a federal judge in the United States said a sex abuse case against him could go forward. An American woman is accusing Prince Andrew of raping her while she was a teenager. She says it was the accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein who offered her up to Prince Andrew for sex. The prince has said he has no recollection of meeting the woman and says what she accuses him of never happened. But now Buckingham Palace says Andrew will have to defend himself as a private citizen without any royal connections. As of this morning, Prince Andrew has not responded. This week, the Justice Department handed down its most serious charges yet related to last year's Capitol riot. It accused 11 people of seditious conspiracy. That basically means they plotted and encouraged other people to revolt. One of the people arrested and charged is the leader of the far-right extremist group Oath Keepers. The other 10 are affiliated with the group in some way. Court papers say they all organized teams to use force and bring weapons to the Capitol. Also, that they recruited members to take part, organized trainings, and came prepared that day with radio equipment and other gear. On top of all of that, authorities say they plotted to stop the transfer of power even after January 6th. Seditious conspiracy charges are extremely rare, basically only used against people who try to overthrow the government. If found guilty, these 11 people could face up to 20 years in prison. So far, none of them have commented, and neither have their lawyers. More than 725 other people are also charged with their actions related to the Capitol attack. Tens of millions of Americans are now in the path of a major winter storm. The Weather Channel says it will cause travel troubles from North Dakota down to Georgia and up to Maine. The first area to see snow will be the upper Midwest today. Up to a foot of snow is expected to fall in the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Iowa. Then the storm will drop into Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. From there, it's possible the South will be in for a dangerous ice storm tomorrow. The Carolinas are expected to get the worst of it. And then the storm's last stops will be the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast on Sunday. Some places from northern Virginia to New England might see as much as 18 inches of snow. More news is coming up, but first, let's take a quick break to thank our sponsor, Stitch Fix. When it comes to sprucing up your wardrobe this season and looking and feeling your best, Stitch Fix has you covered. You can say goodbye to endless browsing, which is a waste of time, and hello to fresh picks curated for your taste and size. Because you take a style quiz, Stitch Fix caters what it recommends to you. And with Stitch Fix Freestyle, you can discover and instantly buy items based on your style, no subscription required. I love getting the recommendations because there are options that fit what I'm already comfortable wearing, plus options that I still like but are perhaps something I would not pick out on my own. In fact, one of our producers told me she loves it because she's able to see examples of outfits, making it so much easier to pinpoint what kinds of clothes she would actually wear. And Stitch Fix has clothes for any occasion and free shipping and returns. So join us and get started today by filling out your style quiz at stitchfix.com/newsworthy. That's stitchfix.com/newsworthy to try Stitch Fix Freestyle. stitchfix.com/newsworthy. Starting tomorrow, the COVID-19 guidelines for cruise ships will become optional. The requirements have been in place since October of 2020 and include COVID testing for the crew and mask wearing indoors on the ship. But now it'll be up to each cruise line traveling internationally and operating in U.S. waters. If a cruise line chooses not to join the voluntary program, they'll be marked gray on the CDC's color status website. That's to show the CDC has not reviewed the health and safety protocols on board. This is a big change in direction for the CDC. Just 2 weeks ago, the agency increased the risk level for cruise ship travel to the highest one. It warned people not to cruise even if they're vaccinated. But now it says the industry has stepped up efforts against COVID-19. Mortgage rates surged to their highest level in almost 2 years. The mortgage loan company Freddie Mac says this week's average rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage jumped to 3.45%. The last time the rates were this high was at the very start of the pandemic in March of 2020. The Wall Street Journal reports the jump was driven by the news the Federal Reserve plans to raise interest rates this year. So higher borrowing costs, plus record-high home prices and low inventory are pushing some buyers out of the market. An exec for Realtor.com says at today's average mortgage rate, buyers of a middle-priced home are paying about $220 more per month than a year ago. Tens of thousands of Americans could see their student loan debt wiped out. One of the country's largest student loan companies, Navient, will forgive $1.7 billion in private student loans. And because they're private, that means the losses will be covered by Navient investors, not the federal government. The agreement ends a years-long legal fight with 38 states in Washington, D.C. The attorneys general of those states say Navient preyed on students who were unlikely to be able to pay the loans back. Basically, that they would steer borrowers into postponing their payments instead of giving them options to enroll in low-cost repayment plans. And as interest piled up, borrowers sometimes fell deeper into debt. So nearly 66,000 borrowers whose loans were in default will get their balances cleared. On top of that, about 350,000 people will get at least a little debt relief. Navient will pay $95 million to people who have had their accounts on hold for a while. It works out to about $260 each. Navient still says it's only settling to help everyone avoid the expense, time, and distraction of a legal fight, but the company insists it did nothing wrong. Los Angeles police are investigating the rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, for allegedly punching a fan. Authorities say it happened around 3 a.m. Thursday outside a Los Angeles club. As local news outlets report, Ye pushed and punched a man who was asking for an autograph. The case is being investigated as a misdemeanor battery. That crime could carry a maximum jail sentence of 6 months, but so far, Ye has not been arrested or charged. And as of this morning, no comment from the rapper. Music legend Lionel Richie will receive this year's prestigious Gershwin Prize for pop music. The Library of Congress honor is meant to recognize an artist's lifetime achievement in one genre of music. Richie, an Oscar winner and 4-time Grammy winner, is currently reaching new generations as a judge on American Idol. He began his career with the Commodores in 1968, then followed it up with a solo career in the 1980s. He's known for hit songs like Endless Love, Dancing on the Ceiling, All Night Long, and many, many more. He sold more than 125 million albums worldwide. Other artists who have been awarded the Gershwin Prize include icons like Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, Carole King, Billy Joel, Smokey Robinson, and Tony Bennett. On top of the award, there will also be a televised star-studded tribute concert in Richie's honor in just a few months. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break to thank our sponsor, Mama Zen. If you follow us on Instagram, then you may already know my family got COVID the week after Christmas. It came from my son's childcare. Thankfully, we are all better now, but it caused me to deal with some extra worry and mom guilt. One thing that helped is the Mama Zen app. I've always enjoyed meditation, but had gotten out of the habit since having our baby and just feeling extra busy. So Mama Zen made it easy to get back into it. I just put in headphones, close my eyes, and listen. It uses science-based techniques to teach how to react with more love and patience and calm, and will even create a personalized program for you. I can tell a difference in how I feel right away after just a few minutes of listening. And I really want you to try Mama Zen and see for yourself how much better you can feel as a mom. Go to your App Store or Google Play and download Mama Zen today. That's Mama Zen, MAMAZEN. Right now, you can use the promo code NEWS, and that code will unlock your free 30-day trial so you can try Mama Zen for yourself. Mama, and all parents out there, your mental and emotional well-being is the most important thing for you, your kids, and your family. So don't postpone it any longer. Now back to Feel Good Friday. The world's top speed skater almost missed her shot at the Beijing Winter Olympics. That is, until her teammate stepped in. The American athlete, Erin Jackson, says Brittany Bowe gave up her spot after winning the 500-meter qualifying race at the U.S. Olympic trials. Jackson finished third, just one spot short of qualifying, because she slipped during the event. But Bowe said no one deserves the 500-meter spot more than Jackson, so she took herself out of the running, allowing Jackson to qualify. Bowe will still compete in 2 other Olympic events in Beijing. Jackson promised to be the loudest voice cheering Bowe on in those races. As for Bowe, she said the decision was easy. She told the AP, quote, "This is the Olympic Games, and it's about Team USA and giving everyone the opportunity to showcase what they got." The 2022 Winter Olympics are set to start in Beijing, China on February 4th. We'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking about one of the reasons behind the Great Resignation, worker burnout. Then join us again Monday for your next news roundup. For now, thanks for listening and have a great weekend.